Hi gang, Diana here today with some watercolors. Welcome to the studio and thank you for stopping by. I just wanted to sort of catch you up with where I am and what I'm doing with my watercolors this year. I am sort of taking a further step into delving into color theory and swatching out all of my paints, and these I wanted to talk about as well. These are the Daniel Smith 238 color chart, and these actually have a little bit of paint on it so you can swatch out the colors here and give yourself an idea of what you would like to get. I do believe I can link that. This is a really great tool. I can link that to Dick Blick down below. Now let's get back to where I am and where I'm going. So what I'm doing is swatching out all of these colors that I have. So I have a good idea of what I have and if there's any holes in it, which there probably isn't, but what the heck. My colors are from either Core, Golden's paints, Daniel Smith, and Winsor Newton. So I've gotten this far, and I'm about to change gears because after I started this just about a little bit ago, I saw a channel that a lot of people apparently do this, and she was doing it on 2.5 by 3.5 inch pieces of watercolor paper, which fits into a trading size and gives you more space. What I'm doing is I will be writing the name of the color. This is a bit thick, so I'll also be doing a nice thick line to see what kind of transparency we have in the color. Then I'll be writing the name of the color. So this, let's start with Permanent Alizarin Crimson, and this is Daniel Smith. And then the other thing I'm doing is I'm finding the color code. Actually, this is PV Violet 19 and PV 149. That's just telling you which pigments were used to create this color. And a lot of times the best colors just have one pigment. But this one, let's just get you a little closer here, sorry. This one just happens to have the two pigments. This is Permanent Alizarin Crimson. It's made up of anthraquinoid red, PR 177, PV 19, and PV 149. So I think I got this wrong somewhere or other, but the idea is really to take a look at these colors. I'm going to try to talk you through them, and this is a more towards a blue red. So just creeping over that line. So if you mix this with ultramarine blue, you're going to get a beautiful, very clear purple. And now you can see the close-up of the way the blooms work. You can see the deepest hue on the right-hand side there. Next up is Permanent Red, and I would say this red is a square right in the middle red. It doesn't lean orange or blue, and it's PR 170. So let's swatch that out. And when I say it's a cool red, it means that it just has an undertone of a blue in it. If it's a warm red, it's an undertone of an orange or a yellow. It's just leaning that way. And if you can train your eye to see that color, you can understand how you can get a clear violet or a muddier violet. And sometimes you do want a muddy violet. Another thing that I want to do here is the reason I put that black line down is as watercolorists, we are interested in the transparency of the color. We're using the color to create the values of the watercolor. Rather than white, we use the paper. So always the strongest tint is going to be the pure tint straight from the tube without any water in it. And I'm also trying to see how things pick up and move around. And I'm in love with both of these. Quinn Rose is PV19, and this is another Daniel Smith color. And it's again, it's a cool color, cool rose. So again, it will make great violets, nice, clear, high chroma colors. This tube is flat as a pancake, but I'm just sticking the tip of my brush in there and getting some. And I think you can see there's a bit of glare, but I think you can see how much blue there is in that Quinn Rose. I think it's like the Opera Rose from Winsor Newton. That was like my favorite color when I first started watercoloring. And it's a great color. Um, but I think that this would replace it. And that's basically what I'm trying to figure out with all of this swatching out and looking at the colors and figuring out what I have. Is it warm? Is it cool? Where would it play out in my palette? Again, picking up a little bit, seeing how the color blooms, and is it granulating? The next is Core Color Quinn Magenta PR122. And I do love this color as well. And the core paints, do run a little more expensive than the Daniel Smith. They're beautiful colors, and I'm usually very happy with them. Golden Paint is a really great company and have been making high quality paints for years. I was glad to see them hop into the watercolor market. Another beautiful color, much more verging on to the purple from the last one, the rose color that we did. And you can see it's not quite as strong a tint and it's full straight from the tube, but it's still a very good color. Next up is Quinn Violet PV19 from Daniel Smith. Another really strong color, and of course we're staying with that, definitely a purple color rather than a red. I'm not sure how I'm going to categorize this, but it doesn't matter that much. Good color, strong. So you can see that bit creeping in there. I love the way this color moves. The only thing I'm not nuts about with this color is there's a little bit of, it's slightly gray, I guess, and that can be good sometimes, but I would also almost rather have myself decide how gray a color should be by mixing. Now this was really interesting. It's Quinn Violet PV19, Quinn Rose PV19, both from Daniel Smith. There's a CL number also on the tube, so I'm going to investigate that a little further. And here is Permanent Scarlet from Core PR168. And this is a red that would be a warm red. It's just verging onto some orange, going slightly one way rather than slightly the other, just leaning. And so it's a great mixer for yellows and golds, and it's a great foil for greens. And also nice. I like the intensity of this color. In fact, I think this was one of my favorites that I swatched out.
Sorry. Yeah, there we go. And they're just 2 numbers away from each other, and they are very close. The Daniel Smith 170 is slightly more purple. It was a really interesting practice to do all this. Now here is the Terra Rosa. It's an M gram color, and I'm surprised that I bought this color. Someone might have given it to me. I don't really have many M grams, but M gram is a beautiful paint, and the binder is honey, so they stay moist. They don't really dry out. They have a beautiful uh, bloom and clarity. This one is a very great earthy value. I mean, I can sort of see using this, but it's not a natural for me. Um, Looks pretty good there on the screen though, now that I'm looking at it. And I'm just trying to think, well, as I was swatching it, I was thinking, now, what would I use that for? Inside of a flower, maybe? Um, yeah, I mean, let me know if you can think of things that it would be good for. Maybe a plum tree, a plum? Somewhere on a plum blossom? And now I'm trying to see if it's moving. It's not moving great, but that's okay. Here we go with Quin Magenta again. This is Daniel Smith PR1202, and the core is 122. Both called Quin Magenta. Now, Core has sent me a lot of watercolors since they introduced their Core brand, and despite that, I want to tell you I'm perfectly honest. I really like Core's colors. I would not recommend them if I didn't. I would just say nothing. But I find them to be very reliable. They're a little more expensive. I will be reviewing their colors that are in a set. The basic 6 set is a set that I will review. And anyway, they're very close in color despite the difference in the number. That one on the left is still wet, but it dries back approximately the same.
All right, let's see what we have here. So we have PV19 Quin Violet from Daniel Smith and PV19 Quin Rose, also from Daniel Smith, and those colors look nothing alike. I almost wonder if, I have no idea. I have no clue why that is. But anyway, there you have it. I will research that a little bit more and make sure I got it right, although I checked a dozen times. Then we have PV19 and PV149, Permanent Alizarin Crimson from Daniel Smith. Very nice color, just verging onto a cool color. Nice color. So now we have the 2 permanent scarlets, one from Core and one from Daniel Smith, and they both have this warm orange, leaning towards the orange red, and both nice colors. I don't know that I could put one above another. This seems to be a little bit more transparent, if that floats your boat. Then we have the PR122 from Core, Quin Magenta, beautiful color, and PR202, also Quin Magenta, but this one's from Daniel Smith and this one's from Core. If I had to pick one, I like the rosier one, but I think I would just put this one on my palette, the Daniel Smith Quin Rose, on my permanent palette. Did I show you this already? PR19 Alizarin Crimson. That feathers out really nice. Gives a nice edge. Yeah, and you can see this is really a good thing to do to see how the paints react. So that's fun. And then Terra Rosa. This is an M gram color, PR101. It's a synthetic iron oxide, and you can see the iron in it from my days of dyeing with ferrous iron. I can see that. It spreads out nicely. It holds the edge really well. It's pretty transparent, and it looks like it's a good earthy color that would come in handy in some paintings. So that's the rundown for today. And let me know what you think of these kind of videos. I'm going to link a couple other people below that I found that you might be interested in if you do like this kind of video. There's like 3 that I can think of. And I can't remember, of course, but I will link below. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment. You know I like to hear from you guys.